and implement AI solutions responsibly by addressing ethical concerns, investing in AI research, and creating supportive regulatory environments. We can accelerate the integration of AI into healthcare and improve patient outcomes. Joy Chuma, Souk News.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Litre said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy, see something. This is Souk business landscape.
Welcome back. Let's take the story again. African's fintech startup attracted the largest share of funding in the first half of 2025, accounting for 45% of total capital raised. Now, according to a new report by Africa, the big deal, the report revealed that fintech companies secured around $640 million between January and June 2025, maintaining their stronghold on Africa's startup investment landscape. Now, the sector's share of funding has rebounded after a period of decline, reaching 51% over the past 12 months. Close time to its all-time high. The biggest fintech deals included Wave Money's $137 million debt deal, Buckra's $59 million Sukuk raised in Egypt, staged $55 million Series B in South Africa, and Nigeria's Lemfi raising $53 million in the Series B round. And MNT Highlands Sahel issuing a $50 million bond in Egypt since 2019. Now, fintech startups in South Africa, Egypt, and Nigeria have collectively captured the majority of funding, taking 61%, 57%, and 56% shares respectively. Now, Kenya remains an outliner, with fintech accounting for just 10% of its startup funding. Beyond fintech, energy startup raised $220 million, that's 20%, led by Burn Manufacturing's $85 million and PowerGen's $55 million in Kenya. Healthcare followed with about $160 million, that's 11%, bought by Herc's $100 million merger with US-based Ergo. Logistics and transportation secured $116 million, that's around 8%, while PropTech ranked 5th, driven by Norway's record $75 million raise in Egypt. Nigerian startups emerged as the third largest recipient of startup funding in Africa during the period, further reinforcing the country's role as one of the continent's key innovation hubs. Now, Chooks, a lot of money seems to be invested in the tech sector. Are we really seeing the dividends in Africa and Nigeria?
Yet, seeing the dividends is something different. What we are seeing are individuals, businesses that might not be in the faces of people really providing solutions, but for the money is in the hands of a few gig-propelled indoor Google wearing people that you don't get to see on daily basis. But is that affecting or showing up in our financial systems? Yes. Do we need more of this? Yes. Is it a positive one? Yes. What we as Africans should start looking at is this. As fintechs are growing, they will become the Microsoft of tomorrow. They will become the Google of tomorrow. But right now, government needs to start seriously putting their eye beyond this startup funds, beyond this investment. Now, if we look at the sources of these investments, over 60-70% of them are coming from the West.
True.
Africans are not putting their money on African startups. Where is our big data going to? These are the major fears we should start talking about right now. Our big data is still hosted, stored by clouds, servers outside Africa. Which means tomorrow, if any of these companies have the major potential to turn to a blue chip company, a Western company can easily buy them over. either with money or hostile takeover. We lose. As Africa, as Nigerians, we're going to lose. Even if whoever started or whoever are the major Africans there will have more money, no, but we are going to lose. So this is where we as Africans, we should start putting our eye on. We should start getting our own servers, encourage people to invest in that technology, invest in that infrastructure. It's not just, we should start investing in those infrastructures here. Remember we talked about the banks and all that stuff. Imagine if tomorrow one of these major servers should crash, or somebody just do something malicious around them. So Africans need to start investing in African startup, and the other surrounding businesses around these startups should be very lucrative to us.
So
We'll look at it.
let me ask this. Does it really matter where the money is coming from, and why should it matter?
Where the money is coming from, now you're opening up another good question. Now, where the money is coming from should matter a lot. If, let's give an example, Melinda Gates, she has a whole lot of money after the divorce, but she's still bearing the Gates. If she decides to put in 12 billion in an African single business, I will be scared. Has the money come in? Yes. But I will be scared. What percentage of that business is owned by whoever is part of that at the end of that money coming in?
25%.
So do we have African policies that say, no, it doesn't matter where and who owns the money. This percentage must remain
as the benchmark
in Africa, or owned by Africa, owned by the founders. Remember, we are just coming out of the First Bank issue. And what was it all about? Who owns the larger share to control the bank? But these are good news because it's Africa versus Africa. Nigerians and Nigerians.
Yes.
What if that particular news was coming from, let's say, a Western bank? And they were quietly mopping up all these shares. And we don't have policies to stop that. By now, then we'll wake up one morning and First Bank has been acquired by one bank in the UK. So Africans should start looking at that.
All right, Priya, what do you think? Should the
First of
money
all,
matter where it's coming from?
Before I even start talking about where the money will come from, about 45% of total startup fund are coming to the fintech. And that's good. So, but if you calculate it, so 100% of startup fund, we should be looking at about $1.3 billion, thereabout, coming into Africa, which I still see as very small. However, it's coming. But for 45% coming into tech, why is that? There's a resurgence in tech, and mostly fintech. Now, because of the capital that is required to start a fintech, it's maybe some of these local companies, maybe you have a local that actually owns it, but when it comes to equity, it's down there below the ladder, and so it has been taken over. Now, do remember that when Nigerians were talking, when we're talking about recapitalization, bank recapitalization, and how they need to get to over the $500 billion benchmark that the current administration has set in place, they themselves are afraid of the kind of partnership they go into. And if they are going into partnership, the amount or the amount of liquidity that their partners are bringing into the business. And I don't think they will want to get a substantial chunk from one investor, from one partner, because that's going to remove equity or is going to remove ownership completely from their grasp. And so it does matter. It does matter, and Chuk has painted the security consequences that might come as a result of that. But celebrating tech, I am not surprised why fintech or why tech is, has become the new gold at the moment, because almost every sector you go to, tech is there to drive the process. If you come to education, you have edutech. If you come to agriculture, you have agrotech. If you go to healthcare, in fact, the technology at work in that place is completely. That is why when you look at the Nasdaq 500, those listed companies in the stock exchange in the United States, you know they even have a category for just tech alone, and the Nasdaq 500, majority of them are tech companies that are listed in the stock exchange. So it's not really going to abate. It's going to keep climbing, but we also need to put legal frameworks in place to protect local companies, in the sense that if they are going to be partnering people outside the country, and there's a tendency that these people, by way of providing liquidity or their fund, will end up or might end up owning the company tomorrow, then the government should step in where it can make single-digit loans available to these owners, and probably even give some. I know Chooks and Doc will say, oh, federal government is not Father Christmas and all of that, but we will need it for that security purpose. Because if we do not get it, there can be a heading somewhere, which will not be good for us, for the local companies, for the local industry.
Chooks, a final thought.
Yes, let's also talk about the energy sector. Let's localize the energy sector. If we see what's happening now, we don't see, apart from payment solutions for your power and all that, we are seeing, I won't call them startups because these are very big companies. We have the Adeleke building generating plant, it's almost done.
In Ondo State, yes.
We have Elumelu. Yes. I think Otedola too, but Otedola is done already. That's in Gereku. Elumelu almost done already. He even bought over. You'll have those that are building from the scratch. Now, a lot of these are generation. Where we are having problem right now is transmission and distribution. Now we are also having issues where states are coming up and saying, federal government, please give us autonomy on distribution. We are seeing governments looking and scrutinizing distribution companies and saying, should we scrap? Should we resell? So that these are spaces and problems that fintech should start looking at and saying, okay, how do we solve this particular problem? This is a big area to play in. Now, there has been a lot of government hold on distribution that caused this problem in the first place. Let's not take that away from them. But we need solutions that are workable, whereby the generating companies will not be owed, because this administration is getting out almost 400 trillion to pay backlog old distribution companies. Now we want to generate some more. If we have to get industrialized, power is directly proportional to that. So we need all players working from transmission right now to distribution, and distribution of power that is affordable.
Talking about affordability now, IMF, IMF, I think the World Bank has tend to be corrected, proposed a total removal of energy or electricity subsidy, right? Now, so with this new these new players coming in, do you see something that is happening in the power sector, this price war? Do you see it happening in the energy sector? If Tony Elumelu, Adeleke, and maybe Otedola come in?
Yeah, for them now, they are generating.
They are generating, yes.
Now, if we have better players distributing, then yes, it's possible. We'll have that. It's possible. It's all about competition. But I don't see a way where government will completely take out subsidy on power. You can't subsidize for everybody. Typical example, government should have no business subsidizing for people living in Banana Island. But there are people living in Mushin, and they have to work. There are people living in, what's it called? Chevron. No subsidy for them.
And there are people living in Kukumai.
Thank you very much. So these are things that government should start looking at. And for those within the tech space, we can do some good alienation, good demographic demarcation, and profile solutions. Government, you can subsidize. Come to our app. We'll tell you which areas to subsidize, where and who you can subsidize. These areas, don't worry, we'll take care of them. There's no subsidy for them. These are all solution-driven tech that can provide solutions. And government should look towards that. But completely taking out subsidy, no.
What about estimated billing? Priye, how can tech come in? Because we've always had estimated billing. It is a major problem.
Yeah. Estimated billing, it's a tactic by them to perpetuate that part, to get money. In the sense that if I said it before, if you completely cut off the existence of estimated billing, to an extent, there's a kind of money that they got from that, from that extraction that they see as quote unquote free money. Because when they come, sometimes including the agents that are sent into the field to work, even see that as their own private way of making private money. It would be good for them to get it out of the way, but you know what? The same people, both the consumer and the people who are driving the process, seem to be gaining from it. So they don't want to actually get that out of the way. And the other thing is getting this bill, the meter, the prepaid meter across. Distribution has been a problem. And there's been this big cream. Do we give it out for free? Do we not give it out for free? Fair. People buy it. We know that people pay money to buy it, and the time they spend to get it, or they wait for a very long period of time to get it. So in that specific case, indirectly they are telling them, go use estimated billing, which is not good. However, but these are the things that are in the system that needs to be taken care of.
All right, we'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue with Silk Business Landscape. Stay tuned.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Litre said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Silk Business Landscape.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Litre said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Silk Business Landscape.
Nigerians aspire for the fruits of democracy to manifest in quality infrastructure and investment in human capital development. According to the reviewed National Integrated Infrastructure Master Plan, Nigeria needs an investment of $2.3 trillion over the next 30 years to close its public infrastructure deficit. The current administration under President Bola Tinubu grapples with a huge debt burden. Nigeria's public debt stock, which includes external and domestic debt, stood at 121.67 trillion naira in first quarter of 2024. Driven by the need to fulfill citizens' desires, the federal government focuses on enhancing revenue generation by creating a conducive environment for business growth. Against this backdrop, examining the tax reform bills, also known as the new tax bill, becomes necessary. In an endeavor to establish a cohesive fiscal framework governing taxation in Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu introduced and presented the tax reform bills to the National Assembly in October 2024.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Litre said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk business landscape.
Welcome back. This is Souk Business Landscape. We're talking business, economy, and development. So let's move on to the next story. Now, the federal government is set to earn an estimated 796 billion naira annually from a newly approved 5% surcharge on locally produced and imported petrol. Yes, you heard it. The levy contained in the Nigeria Tax Administration Act, signed by President Bola Tinubu in June 2025, will take effect from January 2026 and is aimed at boosting non-oil revenue and promoting fiscal sustainability. Data from the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority shows that the petrol consumption reached 18.75 billion liters in 2024, translating to about 15.93 trillion naira at an average price of 850 naira per liter. Now, however, consumers, civil society groups, and oil marketers have rejected the move, warning that the surcharge will further increase pump prices amid the worsening economic hardship. Now, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria and Transport Union stated that the additional charge would be passed on to consumers, raising costs for households and businesses. Critics describe the policy as insensitive, urging the government to prioritize regulatory reforms, accountability, and visible infrastructure improvement before imposing more financial burdens on citizens. Chooks, is this a wise fiscal move?
Well, when you say wise is a bit relative. It's a bit relative and ambiguous. But the first things I'll get to ask myself is let's use Dangote as an example. The refinery is paying tax.
Yes.
So why tax the product again? Since the refinery on its own is paying tax. Because if we look at it separately, whoever is importing, it has a company, and that company will pay tax. Taxing the product again, we have to be able to ask ourselves directly, who exactly is going to pay at the end of the day? It's me, you, that will go to the pump station to buy. Yes. Right now, we are seeing this price war between them, which is good. Now we are going to look at tax again, which is going to increase the cost of buying the product. If you ask me my own thinking, I would say no. Let's leave things the way they are. Let the company pay their tax for doing their business. But on the product that is coming down to the end consumer, please.
Priya, doesn't this look like throwing the spanner in the works?
Yeah, well, it looks like it. So, what's the proceed? What do you want to use it for? What is it for? Is it a special? Is it a special fund generating policy? Or this is just going to be there perpetually? Why are you raising this? For what purpose? Do you want to use it to subsidize anything? Is it part of what the government is trying to bring into cushion NEL fund, or is it going to be expended in trying to revitalize or run the Nigerian government-owned refineries? What exactly is it for? What exactly is this 796 billion? What exactly is it for? Like you said, if the refinery is paying tax, you sell the product to the refinery and you want to tax the product. Why? Why do you want to do that? Because recently the new tax bill that we just revived and reformed, that is going to be taking place from January next year, right? So now that you've brought that in and you're saying there are some instances where we had multiple double taxation and the government is trying to align them.
Yes.
And so where does this fit? To what end? To what purpose? Because the government should be very, very transparent about it. If not, it could the critics of government or questions will be asked. For what purpose? To what end are you going to deploy this money by the time you have done that? And are you considering inflation? Where Olaime Cardoso for 3 consecutive times when he sat with the Monetary Policy Committee and the meeting, they've maintained the 27.5%. And some of the excuses that he gave was that the economic reforms of the administration are yielding some form of benefit, including previous MPC meetings, and by way of stationing the NPR, they've yielded. So let's give it time. Let's not disrupt the system by taking the NPR rate to about 25% or 26.5%. Because if we do that, we are going to unsettle the system, and the yields that the government is getting as a result of the new reform, it will be truncated. So because we need to get that yield so that we can have a very good understanding on how we evaluate and assess the process. What about this?
What about local manufacturers? How would this affect them?
Okay, fine. 5% is very big. It's very, to what end? So you cannot make policies that is seen or has been interpreted of bringing benefit to the coffers of the government, or is going to, repair the damaged economy. And you are churning out another policy that is going to aggravate the situation. I'm trying to get the reason out of it. Maybe in the course of the program we are going to bring all that out.
All right. So, Chooks, what other alternatives could the government explore for generating non-oil revenues?
Non-oil revenue. The new tax law, the new tax bill is there already. The Nigerian Revenue Service, it will take a while for it to sink. It's still fast as in our head. The Nigerian Revenue Service is poised to be more of a commander from January 1st next year.
Yes.
And we look forward to it. Now, we are looking at implementation and being able to even achieve 50% coverage from what they've put out there. 50% coverage is going to be an excellent mark, because we will depend less, if not completely do away with borrowing to fund the budget, if we're able to achieve that. Also looking at what other auxiliary government agencies will be generating. Now, for this particular thing, I am of the opinion that whatever form of tax that will bring any form of burden to the citizenry or businesses, we should avoid, because we want people to get productive and not fleece them. So every avenue that will get people productive, anything that will cause ease of doing business, the government should encourage. But for this particular tax, I think we need to sit down and study it again and really understand where exactly is government coming from.
And if the end justifies the means, do you think?
Now, if the end justifies the means, then we'll now start asking ourselves what exactly are those means that is justifying.
Well, the government is saying, the government signed about 4 bills in the in the new tax reforms, and one of the bills is the Tax Administration Act, and that it's the 5% deduction or surcharge, rather, is already stated in the Tax Administration Act, which is part of one of the bills. So they are not unaware of it. So if that was the case, why didn't the Ipman and marketers, we should have cried out then, even before it was signed into law, that look, this surcharge, this 5% surcharge must be removed.
Well, they are looking at debt fund. They are looking at
yes.
They are looking at most of all
the government is looking at the 5% of it is to shore up production in the non-oil produce in the country. That's the reason for the 5%. However, 5% is big. It's very big.
won't this lead to another inflation?
It will, because that's what the marketers are saying, that look, it's even going to make you remove fuel subsidy. That's harsh enough. This 5% surcharge will be transferred.
Looks like
to
it
people.
undermines fuel subsidy removal.
The burden will be quite high because it will be transferred to the final consumers. Yet you are not improving on things that you're supposed to do to make fuel cheaper in the country. I mean, doing your own quota as the government, that you're a player also in the industry. The refineries are not working. If we can get the refineries to work, probably people won't even bat an eye when you're talking about the 5% as contained in the new Tax Administration Act.
Majorly looking at the present cost of the end refined product. So if these products are coming for less than 500, 400 naira, now this 5% will not be that cumbersome compared to what the prices of the product are right now. And mind you, now this is 5% on each liter you're buying. So let's me just use my plain head and say I'm buying for 870 naira. That is what they're selling in the pump station close to us, which means 5%. That's almost 43.5 naira on each liter extra. While the men are cutting down prices at 5 naira, 10 naira, you are adding yours in over 40 something naira.
Which now brings me to that question earlier on proposed by Dangote for us to have a protectionist policy. Don't you think if that was in place, maybe,
even with the protectionist policy, we still have this. So let's look for how can we work to getting down the prices of this product. Then that 5% will not be as a big issue.
Why is Ipman saying, are they also okay with this?
Well, they are the ones that will pay first. That is my thinking, though. They are the ones that will pay first because most likely it's going to be calculated based on the amount of product you're bringing in or you're refining.
Don't you think there should be some sort of leniency for local refinery companies?
But if you look at it closely, and you will see that there's an argument that the authorities will put on. They will say, however, there are items exempted from the new tax.
Okay.
One of them is clean energy. So if you're exempting clean, why are you exempting clean energy when we are not known to full production at home at the moment? So production-wise, we are importing these clean energy technology and facilities.
I hope you know CNG is also part of the clean energy.
Yes, yes.
And none of these players are playing.
But they're also they're also telling you that households like cooking gas, kerosene, and compressed natural gas, like you said, are also exempted.
Those are exempted.
Yes, they are exempted from the tax. But if they are exempted from the tax, we are taking it from the back door, and it's coming from this 5% surcharge. So we are not really exempted in the true sense.
We need to really sit down and pick up that new tax bill, item by item.
It's late,
and it's not late.
It's signed.
Yes, it's signed, but it's our ability to imbibe the knowledge and pass the knowledge across, and look for what are the very constructive means of applying it. Since the tax is there already, now if we're able to, just like we keep saying on this table, if we're able to find means of reducing the cost, then the tax will not be much, because tax is on cost of product, cost on production. So if we can be able to reduce cost of each of these things, then at the end of the day, the addition, the submission of the tax will be less.
The 796 billion is only on petrol. Diesel is not in it. Aviation fuel is not there.
So you see why we need more study?
If it's only on petrol, what's the largest consumption of all these items you just mentioned? It's on petrol. So that is where the government is taxing. So I think that maybe known or unknown to the government, what they are doing is trying to drive people towards green energy.
Do we have...
How many CNG vehicles do you see?
So that means we are playing, will I say playing the script of the revolution now in that space, that it's either green energy or green energy and fossil fuel will become extinction. But at the moment, what we have, our muscle, is in the production and the refining of fossil fuel.
So let's do the best of it.
So these are two divergent points. This is where our strength lies, fossil fuel. But they wanted us here. But you know what? Tax is imposed here. Even though exempted in one, but through the back door by way of legislative framework, it's in.
All right, talking about clean energy, let's move on to our next story. Nigeria has attracted over $440 million in private sector investment between May and June 2025 to expand its compressed natural gas (CNG) transport program. According to the Presidential Initiative on Compressed Natural Gas, the funding focused on infrastructure, conversion kits, and logistics is part of the government's wider plan to convert 1 million vehicles and train 25,000 auto gas technicians by 2027. Now, so far, more than 100,000 CNG kits have been deployed, with over 1,400 vehicles converted across 20 states. The initiative has also procured more than 800 CNG-powered buses and 5,000 tricycles to reduce transport costs and promote clean energy. Now, with 65 motor fueling stations and 300 conversion centers already operational, the government projects over 250,000 biofuel vehicles on Nigerian roads by 2027. Officials say the program aims to cut fuel expenses by more than 500 billion naira and reduce carbon emissions by 57%, while creating thousands of new jobs in energy and transport sectors. I like the part I like most is creating new jobs, because yes. But then again, do you think this is a game changer? Looking at how much we've been talking about CNG since last year till now.
Yes, now this is still oil and gas sector, but this is something that is not relatively new, but we've not really played in this sector aside government. We will need to see more private initiative here. A lot of the conversion for this is the focus right now. They're trying to get vehicles, go start using this. But a lot of that particular drive is government. A lot of the money spent is government money. Now, when this money stops, what's going to happen? These are questions we should start asking. So I will say governments push private businesses. Let people see solutions there. Now, when there is a problem, that is when you get solution. That is when you make money. We have had PMS-driven vehicles for a very long time, and that came easy to us. Then came removal of subsidy. Then went up the price of fuel. But even before the removal of subsidy, government has been looking at gas as the new future.
Yes.
But how have we been able to drive that? If we are looking at local use of CNG, which means we'll need these vehicles on the road, private initiative is a must. Once government subsidy on both rekitting and putting new vehicles on the road stop, what happens? Another thing we still start asking ourselves, 90.9% of these new CNG buses, cars that the government is buying, kits, are all imported. We've not started localizing this technology.
How many CNG stations do we have?
That is another case story. So if we are going this way, government can only push. Government should not be the ones driving this. Private sector should drive this. Business people should see the problem and find the solution and see profit here. That is when this can move. Because if people are still building pump stations, PMS pump stations.
I also remember Dangote proposed he was going to go into that CNG business, but
Dangote is not the savior of Nigeria.
It seems.
So right now, we need solutions all around. Private individuals should come in.
All right. So, Priya, what do you think?
$440 million private investment to promote compressed natural gas. But if you look forward, I think Chooks is the grouse that Chooks has is that we're having for our target for 2027 is that we want to convert 1 million vehicles to CNG, 800 buses. 800 buses, like in Nigeria, 800 buses.
They just
would
acquired.
Would that even suffice for Lagos only? Okay, then 5,000 tricycles.
Just acquired.
Just acquired by the government. Then 100,000 kits to reduce fuel costs and emissions. I think when we were envisaging this transition, because the previous administration set up the line, set up a plan that by 2060 we have the transition to gas. Probably where we are working with that plan in mind. We are kind of aggressive in this part, but is it really going to pay us? Because even though the argument of the government is that if we can make CNG more available, it will bring down our dependence on fossil fuel. It will bring down our dependence, and it's all going to reduce the number of people using it within the country.
Talks about affordability too.
Yes, it's talking about affordability. And by the time you bring down the number of people using it, and that means you are spreading the tentacles of alternative you are providing to the people. But those who are partakers, the stakeholders, those who have invested, who just invested in fossil fuel, they are going to fight back, and some of them have the capacity to influence government decisions and policies. So it is neither here nor there. There are new investments going into building refineries. Okay, fine. Maybe not internally, because we need to feed other African countries, other demands. But equally know that the global bodies that is pushing for African countries or pushing Nigeria towards the renewable energy and to have this transition is also pushing other African countries and pumping some form of money into those economies and into those markets for them to have a smooth transition, or to strengthen the capacity of the government and even private individuals, private businesses in those climes to equally up the game, to move away from fossil fuel. So if the government is going to promote it, yes, we know the government is being aggressive on this part, but I think it should slow down a bit. If not, at the moment, what we have capacity in fossil fuel, we have the crude. For compressed natural gas, we need to set up facilities and infrastructure that is going to cost us much. And we did not really envisage it, but we are jumping in. But why? We are importing all the parts. We are importing the buses. And are we thinking about sustainability?
What about this conversion kit stations? Do we have?
The CNG, or for the electric vehicles that we talked about, like I've made the example here before, 25% of the 100% of the rechargeable sites that is required in Britain, they can only cater for 25%. They are part of it. They are part of the people, or they are part of the crew bailing this cart for renewable energy and transition, let go of fossil fuel, save the atmosphere, save the climate. Yes, but they can barely do much. They have 25%. And these are some of the people that we are looking up to. The Africa is looking up to.
They even have stable power.
Yes, they still have stable power, despite their level of industrialization, having stable power. So they themselves have not been able to cater to 100% or to 50% or 75% of the needs that they have in their climb. And these are the people you want to support you. But you also have strength. I'm talking about Africa, Nigeria, Algeria, Gabon. You also have strength to develop. Why can't we just focus? Because whatever we need to develop the infrastructure and the technology for the CNG and for the electric vehicle, can we if we want to make our refineries work, if we channel the same money into these areas, we can get our refineries working. But I think that's a lost battle, because it doesn't look like we have the political will to bring back or to resuscitate our refineries for it to work.
All right, Chooks, coming to you. CNG was supposed to be an alternative, cheaper way of fueling your car. Now, with the price war going on, and hopefully the price will come down, do people see any need to transition to CNG?
Well, seeing the need to transition is just an option. Car option, movement option, travel option. Now, I look at this from a different perspective. If I have that option of buying cheaper premium motor spirit and CNG gas, and I have the vehicle that will drive on CNG and is cheaper and safer, I will go for the CNG if it's cheaper and I have it. But right now, we don't have it, and it costs an arm and a leg to convert your present car
After buying
to a CNG, thanks to subsidized in the first place government kits. Now, this is a policy that came too fast because subsidy was removed. If we had enough time to have planned this particular process, we won't be where we are right now. Because I promise you, at the end of the day, after a long time, we'll now start seeing a lot of loopholes that we should have covered. Let's look at the number of cars that we've imported alone, CNG cars, not just now, right?
Chooks, I was going to ask you, who manufacture these cars?
China. So, look at the small cars, look at the big one, the buses, look at the tricycles, look at the chain of even machinery that has been imported all this while, since we started looking at CNG as option based on price of PMS. If we had planned well, there was nothing that stopped us from saying, okay, we don't have CNG cars right now. Toyota or GUQ, whatever they call you, come and establish a plant here.
Or even in Osun.
That might take a while. If you want us to buy 1,000 pieces, come and establish a plant here and start producing the cars. Or come and collaborate with Innocent, or collaborate with Board, or collaborate with Dangote, Nord, any of them, and start this production. Or Innocent will give you 6 months. Start making us this. Or Dangote will give you Peugeot. These plants are here. We'll give you 6 months. Start making us this. These are plants that are locally grown and can help us better. These conversion kits are all important at the end of the day. Can the common person afford them?
Talking about affordability, now if you look at an Innocent vehicle, how affordable is it? For us to now transition to CNG, will it be still affordable?
Yes, they will be affordable, but me and you know that buying brand new cars is not for everybody.
Well,
Chooks, Olumide, a tricycle, what you call keke napep, the last time I asked was more than 3 million naira. Tricycle. Keke napep, what is popularly called keke napep, 3 million naira. I spoke to these transporters. You get it for 3 million naira, they give it 3-point-something million, they give it to them higher purchase for 5 million naira. 5-point-something million naira.
What's the duration?
A year. That's 13 months. They deliver 20,000 naira daily from Monday to Friday. A tricycle. Fuel, diesel used. You want to get that of CNG for a tricycle? They told us it's going to be cheaper, right? Wait until we buy it. They will give you the reason why it is 5 million naira. And when some of our business boys, young men, feel I need to go into transportation and they want to acquire one and give it high purchase or lease it out to one of these boys to drive around to make money, if they're getting it for 5 million naira, high purchase is going to be for 7.5 million naira. automatically the cost of transportation has gone up. And because we use this tricycle for streets, inter-street movement, who are the people using it? The common people. And if you're going to ask them, apart from the fuel price, the cost of the machines, this tricycle, are going to go up. That means the cost of transportation itself is going to soar. And you want these people, you are trying to make things good for them, or you are making things worse for them. So in the cars that we are talking about private citizens who own cars. Now, before you afford your own car, you must have got to a level where you are sort of comfortable, except you're using it for the private transportation business. Because even people who are comfortable these days in Lagos, you buy a private car, you're using it for transportation. You're going to the office in the morning, you're not going alone.
Yes.
You have passengers in the vehicle who are paying for their fare. You're going and they are coming. Whether they are coming from your office, they are still paying. You carry them in your car. Because people are looking for other means to make money, because running it's expensive. And the government, like you said, we're being too hasty. We should take advantage to look at what we have. This is purely comparative advantage. We are jumping into a whole new terrain, and we are aggressive and chasing it, and with a plan that we are letting go. Why? Because this narrative is sold to us, and we are going all out for it. And I don't think it is the right way. The government should just take it easy. If it's going to make all this available, fine, make it available. But if it's going to be, it's going to be hindering us, putting in money in other areas that is going to make us more productive, then we should let it run at a pace that we can manage, and not something that we will be striving to attain.
All right, so it says here we just have about 1 million vehicles. How would that even service?
1 million vehicles in Nigeria?
Yes.
They are working towards 1 million vehicles.
How would that even service?
They are CNG compliant, 1 million vehicles.
774 local governments in 36 states. How would that even?
1 million of these. What's the time duration? 2027.
Right. Either 26 or 27.
So now and now you told us we have 800 buses.
They just bought.
Just bought 800 buses. Those are new ones. How many do we have on ground before now? How many will it serve? Because how many have I seen? I've only seen 2 in Lagos.
In Lagos?
I've only seen those. No, not the newly bought ones.
Okay.
Not the newly bought ones. Because there was a time they told us they were bringing. I've only seen 2 in Lagos.
There are several CNG powered buses.
Okay, maybe I told you I've only seen 2. The reason why I'm saying I've only seen 2, because I see them in a specific location. And that location is when you get to the toll gate. On Saturday morning, beneath that toll gate, that pedestrian bridge from where you cross from 7 Up to the other part, like you're going to K2, there is one part beneath the bridge there. Always on Saturday morning.
Do you have a CNG pump station around you?
I have not really made findings concerning that. But okay. I have seen the small vehicles, the CNG powered small vehicles drive around. I've seen a few.
The solar vehicles or CNG
CNG.
Okay. Now,
I've seen a few.
For us, we always want to see government policies that work. I want to see people being able to move both goods and services, logistics, cheaper. That aids and make production better for everybody. Fuel subsidy is gone, so that's no longer news. It's gone. CNG has come. How can we make it better? How can the government function better? Every single government policy and every activity the government is doing right now, yes, they are nice, but the question is when that's up, because everything the government is doing right now is subsidized. Even your kids are subsidized. So when it stops, how do we go after that? This is where we keep saying we need the private sector in. We really need the private sector in. Then must it also be CNG? These are questions that are just hanging in the air. So how can we, going forward, give people options? So let's say you're buying your Tokumbo. They buy Tokumbos here. Let's also start seeing Tokumbos come as in CNG Tokumbo. So people have that option. Then let's also start seeing pumps.
We want to manufacture our own car.
Let's start seeing pump stations around too.
Okay.
All right, we'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll move on to the last story for today. Stay tuned.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Litre said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk business landscape.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Litre said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk business landscape.
Anthony Onyemaechi Elumelu was born on the 22nd of March 1963 in Jos, North Central Nigeria, to Susanna Dominic Elumelu, originally from Delta State. Tony earned a degree in economics from Ambrose Lee University, where he laid the foundation for his future career, and then furthered his education at the University of Lagos, where he obtained a master's degree in economics. His academic journey also includes attending the Harvard Business School, where he completed the Owner of President Management program, equipping him with advanced business management skills. Tony currently serves as the chairman of Heirs Holdings, Transcorp, and United Bank for Africa, UBA, demonstrating his significant influence in the banking and investment sector. He founded the Tony Elumelu Foundation, which aims to empower African entrepreneurs through comprehensive training, mentorships, and funding opportunities. In addition to his professional achievements, he's also a family man, married to Dr. Adele Vivian Elumelu, and together they have 7 children. In 2020, his efforts were acknowledged when he was named one of Time's 100 most influential people in the world. Anthony Elumelu's net worth is estimated to be around $700 million, a testament to his successful ventures and strategic investments. Elumelu continues to be a driving force in the business world, advocating for sustainable economic growth and empowering the next generation of African entrepreneurs.
Hello Nigeria, hello Africa. Yeah, this is Sound Man. Keep watching Souk News.
My name is Babalola from Excel LED. Keep watching Souk News.
My name is Shepherd Michael Adewale Onofuye. I enjoy you all to always watch Souk News TV.
Hi, I'm Tom Boggaballs, and please keep watching Souk News.
Wale Seriki, SLG Lagos Island East. Souk News, keep out watching them and keep a lookout for them. They're up and coming, and we're proudly to be affiliated with them.
You alone where they make me go crazy. This your love in the cool of my brain. You're my medicine, I need you all day. Yo, it's Blackface Nigeria, and you're watching Souk News TV. Keep it locked on this dial, don't change it. You know what I say? Blackface Nigeria, love on the bad.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Litre said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff? Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk business landscape.
Welcome back to Souk Business Landscape. Let's take the last story for today. The United States will impose a 15% tariff on imports from South Africa, lower than the previously threatened 25% rate, as part of a new trade deal announced by President Donald Trump. Now, this agreement follows negotiations with South Korean President Lee Jae-myung and includes a pledge by South Korea to invest $350 billion in the United States and purchase $100 billion in American energy products. The deal covers investment in shipbuilding, semiconductors, nuclear power, batteries, and biotechnology, while also granting United States exporters, including automakers and agricultural producers, greater access to South Korean markets without additional duties. South Korea retained limits on rice and beef imports while continuing discussions on food regulations. Trump said further South Korean investment will be announced later, describing the deal as a major step in strengthening economic ties and reducing trade tensions. Chooks, how do you feel right now?
Right now, I just look at Trump and say, well done.
I wish this is how we operate. I wish this is how we operate here.
Well done. Now you get to see that at the end of everything, they are the ones that are benefiting. And it looks like 15% has now become the benchmark for trade tariffs with most countries. He settled for 15% with the European Union. He settled for 15% with some part of 15% with China on some issues, now South Korea. But beyond the tariff, what he is also getting with it, South Korea alone, $350 billion in direct investment. 150 billion open access to South Korean market for their own exports. Now, you see the way people position themselves. Where is Africa? This is where these are the questions we should start asking. Where is Africa? They have refused to be not even just an open market, but we are an open dumping ground. Everything we take. To the extent that even our government come out to pride that they imported this amount of cars. It makes the news. Capital letters, some even underline it with red tape. So we should start seeing how countries run business and emulate.
Priya, what's your thought on this?
Previously, the last time, 2 weeks ago, we spoke about Mr. President getting an investment commitment of $20 billion. Investment commitment. At some other time when he newly got into office, he got an investment commitment of $14.3 billion coming from Indian investors to the country. And I was asking the question, if that investment has actually materialized, and $20 billion issue, investment commitment that is coming to the country, if it is going to materialize, and we look at Donald Trump, who yes, it's as if the world is against him, but he's making progress. He told you, I'm going to do this in my manifesto. You elect me as your president. He's doing it.
He's walking the talk.
He's working it up. Like everybody's coming to the table to negotiate, because he will slam you a tariff, and after the media war, you'll come to negotiate. But you know what? There's a secret benchmark he has said that we're not going less than this. And we're going to do this. And it's quite strategic in the industry and the sectors it's going to. When you are coming to build, when you are coming to the United States, what they want to get at this point in time, because when you look at their defense budget and you look at their defense programs at this point in time, they are going for tech, they're going for semiconductors, they're going for raw earth materials, they're going for things like shipbuilding. Come and do it here. And when they are sending things out to give us access to your market, some of the countries that had a fight, most especially China with the United States, have turned their attention to start sourcing their agricultural products, some of which they used to import, because the US is quite big on that too. They've diverted attention to places like India or to others who are able to make that available. But what is Trump doing? He's opening, South Korea is opening their market for the United States exporters to bring in what? Agricultural products there. This is how the game is in geopolitics. Let's do the same. Let's do the same. I don't think we are really hitting. We're not flexing this muscle. We need to do it. And let me say this. I've said it before, probably in a different way. A time will come if we keep sleeping like this. A time will come. The Sahel states will dictate pace in Africa because their investment drive, their program at the moment, the people backing them want to pass a message and create a new narrative in the continent of Africa.
But are they under a legitimate government?
No, it is now we can't even salvage the situation anymore. But you see, those who are backing them, they want to paint a narrative and tell you that
them are also after something.
Those who are backing them want to paint a narrative, and that narrative where they are going is that, look, it will pay you more to do business with us because it would have paid you more because we will give you so much liberty for you to express yourself. But you know what? We're bound to stay true to the pact that will hold us together. They are going to get to a place, trust me, these guys are going to move to an area where they will start using nuclear for energy, for the purpose of electric power and industrialization in places like Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. And by the time they start that, because we are mooting that idea, but Nigerians are crying, no, we cannot sustain this, even in this table. We cannot sustain this. We don't have the capacity. We cannot maintain it. We cannot do this. But you know what? It will get to a place as small as Burkina Faso, Mali, or Niger, as small as they are compared to Nigeria. They'll get to that place, and if they get there before us, industrialization, trust me, investors will troop down there.
You seem to have a soft spot for these.
No, it's not a soft spot. If you look at the body language, look at the China, look at the North Korea, look at Russia. These people feel that the United States and other Western allies, they've taken over the world and the continent of Africa for a long time. They are coming in newly, and they are courting Africa. That, look, we will give you more than you've been given before. Just come trade with us. And that's what they are doing. And that they will solve, if they will solve power problem in these countries through nuclear means, then I think we need to watch out.
All right, so Chooks, in less than 30 seconds, you're closing.
Yeah, to every African out there, to every Nigerian out there, this is the new bride. So don't get scared. We look forward to better things, better production and better productivity. So we all need to play our part.
Priya, you're closing.
Okay. Nigeria's, the center and the focus of Nigeria's foreign policy is Africa. I think we must begin to review that narrative. We must begin to paint a different narrative. We must begin to turn our attention from that and look inwardly. Because if we do not, that center focus, that focus is deviating. I am Oyin Priya Kromale. Good morning to you.
All right, so that wraps up this week's edition of Souk Business Landscape, where we don't just report the news, we explore what it means for Africa's present and future. For more updates and insight, please follow us on all our social media platforms at Souk News TV. Until next time, keep your eyes on the market and keep your mind on the bigger picture. I am Olumide Shokoya. Chooks.
Thank you very much for being part. My name is Chooks, John Rogers Chooks. We'll do this again tomorrow. Be nice.
Stay tuned.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Litre said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff? Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk Business Landscape.